Okay, so welcome everyone. Thanks for attending the session. It's called 4 Easy SEO Tips, and I'm your host, Benoit Mercier. I want to share 4 simple things that you can do by yourself to be more visible online and improve your SEO ranking. This will be a short session, just under 20 minutes, and there will be some time to ask questions at the end. So I'll open up the mics, and you can also submit your questions in the chat box, and then we can go through that at the end. So let's get started. So first of all, a little plug for my company. So what does Bloomtools do? So we're a digital marketing company, and we help small and medium businesses get more with their online presence, like being more visible, getting more leads, getting more customers. We started in Australia in about 2004 and moved into Canada about 6 years ago. So we've actually developed our own software platform to create websites for email marketing and also for lead management. And that allows us to control both the quality and the cost of our products. In addition to that, we also offer services like SEO, online ads, and social media, again, to improve a company's visibility and to get more customers. So let's get with the program. The first tip I want to share is keywords. So we have to make sure that the relevant keywords for your business are featuring prominently in different areas of your website. So first step is really find out which keywords the prospects are searching for when they look for your products or services, and then make sure that those appear in your page titles, in the copy of your website, in the image descriptions, and in some of the links that you may have. If you're not sure how to start or where to look, you can also use the Google Keyword Planner that gives you an idea of what you should be looking for. And you can also check some of your competitors to get ideas as to what they're doing, right? So make sure that you use words that people are searching for and try to avoid or minimize industry jargon or industry speak. For example, a trucking company might have transportation solutions on their website, but that could also mean shipping by plane, by train, or by boat, so that they need to be clear and have the keyword trucking appear somewhere in key places to be found, as people may be searching for trucking or shipping as opposed to transportation solutions. Another example might be if your website says that you sell vulcanized rubber vehicle road interfaces, but everyone is searching for tires. So you won't be found and you won't make sales because there's a disconnect between what's on your website and what people are looking for. So one important aspect to being found online is called local SEO. So it's fairly new in the past couple of years, so that's been growing over time. And that's really the ability to be found locally by people looking for local products and services in a specific geographic area. For example, someone may be Googling bakeries near me or flower shops in Hyde Park. So over time, Google has evolved its algorithm to take into account the people's preferences for local businesses in the immediate area as opposed to businesses that are further away. So for example, if I'm in Mississauga and I'm looking for a bakery, I won't really be interested in listings in Scarborough because it's just too far. So some types of businesses have a higher local demand, such as restaurants, bakeries, dentists, and other health-related businesses. And others have somewhat less of a local component, like maybe a plumber, in website design, business coaches, etc. So consider whether your business has more of a local flavor, and make sure to include geographic keywords that are relevant. So it can be a city like Brampton, Milton, Mississauga, or it can even be a specific neighborhood such as the Beaches, the Annex, Port Credit, Glen Abbey, and so on. Your content should reflect that local nature so that you can be found more easily locally. If you're operating in different neighborhoods or have different offerings in different cities, you can create a page that's specific to that city or that neighborhood. So it's good for SEO as it's fresh content, and it helps your local SEO ranking as well. The second aspect is we're going to look at HTML tags, right? So those are behind the scene tags that helps with SEO, and it goes a long way in helping you be found by the search engines. So let's look at the coding behind a website. So there's ways to reveal the source code. This is what you get. It's kind of a gobbledygook, but it's the instructions that the browsers get to render to display the actual website. So we'll just focus on a few lines out of there just to explain what those tags are about. So if we see here on the left kind of column, you have title, you have meta, then description, H1, H2, image. So those are the HTML tags. Okay, so let's look at that to see what they actually do and how it impacts your SEO. So we'll focus first on the title tag and the meta description tag. So we see here the title, website design Mississauga. Meta description is Bloomtools is a web design company that, blah, blah, blah. So there are many different parameters on the meta tag, but the description one is the one that is important for SEO purposes. The good news is you don't need to know HTML. You don't need to know how to code in order to get those tags set right. If we look here on the back end of your website, which the back end is usually called a content management system or a CMS, all those backends usually provide a way of easily editing the title and the meta description tag. And we have an example here with the title shown and the meta description. So you can simply edit those fields yourself to best reflect what the page is about, what your organization is about. And don't forget that you can also include your geographical keywords in there for local SEO purposes. And what does that look like on the website? We'll have that popping up here. So the title tag is what we see at the top of the tab when you have your browser, either Chrome, Firefox, Explorer. The title appears there. And the meta description appears when you do a Google search for the company. So you'll have the company name show up. You have the either the title tag or some description there. And below the couple of lines, that's the meta description. So you can see directly what you put into the backend appears in the search results. And that's a signal for Google as well, right? So by changing the title and the meta description tags yourself, you can improve the likelihood of being found for your specific keywords. It's important to give each page a unique title and a meta description that properly represents each page. Think of each page on a website as a book that has its own title, and the meta description is sort of the summary of that book, right? There's a limit to the number of characters, typically 65 to 70 for the title tags and about 300 for the meta descriptions. So you need to be concise in what you select there to display. Now let's look at the header tags. They're labeled here as H1 and H2. There's many levels of header tags. There's up to 6 levels, and they're used mainly to provide styling and formatting instructions to the browser to display the page properly, similar to the same way that headings work in Microsoft Word. The difference, however, is that H1 and H2 are actually used by Google as a signal to help determine what your website is all about. H1 is especially important, so you may want to include some of your keywords in some of your H1 headers throughout the website, and that may include geographical keywords as necessary. So again, the same as before, you don't need to know HTML. Most content management systems should provide you with an easy way of creating and changing the headers yourself, typically as a formatting or a styling option. And how that gets displayed on your website is an example here. So grow your business with Bloomtools Mississauga, that's your level 1 header. And the yellow box below is the level 2 header. And Google looks at those keywords that are there in order to help determine what the website's about. The last tag we're going to look at is the image alt tag or alt image. The alt stands for alternative, so it's text that can accompany an image on the website. The image tag is another one that has a lot of different parameters like the source, the style, the height, and the width. but for our purposes, for SEO purposes, the alt tag is the important one. So your CMS, again, your content management system, should provide you with a simple way of adding or editing the tag that goes along with the image. And we have an example here. We have an image that's selected, and we have a little box where we can input the text. And when you do that and save it, what happens on the screen is when you hover the cursor over the image, that line that you put in pops up, right? So that information is also used by Google. So that's why it's important that you have some keywords in it. And it really, again, it gives Google a signal as to what that image or what that page is all about. Okay. So let's move on to tip number 3, which is about content. It's about keeping your content fresh. So really nothing says I don't care like content that is stale and outdated. So get rid of that 2012 catalog, remove information that's no longer valid or relevant. If your last blog is from 2017, then you're really long overdue for an update, right? Also, make sure that you check your links to make sure that they still work and that they go where they're supposed to be going. So content on a website can take on many forms. It could be a blog, it could be a new page or a modified web page. It could be videos, photos, podcasts, reviews, articles, events, FAQs. Pretty much anything that you can add or do on your website becomes a piece of content to which you can attach some SEO relevant labels, right? So all these different aspects are perfect ways to keep the content fresh, show off your expertise, and add value to your potential clients. And all of these can be keyword rich to help your overall SEO ranking. Out of all of these, the blog is probably the easiest and the simplest way to add fresh new content, and the easiest to keep producing new content on a regular and consistent basis, because you don't have to write a novel. You can just write a few paragraphs, a few hundred words, and that helps keep the content fresh. Google likes it, reindexes your web page, and then helps by giving you a little boost on your SEO ranking. So the quality and the regularity of the new content is actually more important than the frequency. So you're better off doing like one blog every 3 months consistently rather than doing 8 blogs all at once and then have nothing to show for the next 2 years after that, right? If your business tends to be local in nature, you can blog about local events, you can sponsor a local sports team, or promote local nonprofit organizations or other businesses that you may be partnering with. And all these are opportunities to insert relevant geographic keywords to be found more easily locally. Now we're getting on the last tip here. And we're looking at Google My Business, which is our last SEO tip. And before we get that, or as we get into that, let's do a little eye test like we do when we go to the eye doctor. Is this number 1 or number 2 better? So let's look at number 1 or number 2, right? So which is better, number 1 or number 2? Well, what you see here on the right-hand side is called the knowledge panel, and Google uses that to display selected information that's related to the search query that the person entered in, right? So when you type the name of a business, that business Google My Business page is being displayed on the right-hand side. So Google My Business, it provides information about the company, so name, address, phone number, website. It includes photos, products, and services. And it also displays the all-important reviews. The more reviews you get, it influences your SEO ranking, and then you show up higher in the search results, assuming that most of the reviews are positive, of course, which is the case for most businesses in general. You can also post notices and updates on your Google My Business profile, and that can be automated as well in order to save you some time and some effort. A Google My Business account is free and it's easy to set up. So you can promote your business by grabbing that prime piece of real estate in the knowledge panel for the search result page. You can't get any more visible than that. You have your own section devoted to you on the Google search page. Granted, it has to be when someone is looking for your company name or your business name, but that is up for grabs for you to promote yourself, right? Google wants to be the go-to business directory. So by creating an account with Google My Business, you're telling them what you're all about and you're making their job easier. So because of that, they reward you with improving your search result ranking. And Google My Business listings are also used by Google Maps when you do a search on Google Maps. Okay. So before we move on to the questions, I just have a little special offer. Bloomtools is offering its email marketing platform that allows you to create an unlimited number of campaigns and emails, events, and surveys. We'll upload 500 contacts. We'll provide a basic branded email template and provide basic training on the platform for just $50 a month, plus a $75 setup fee. And we are extending that through the COVID isolation period only. So if you're interested, contact me, because email marketing is really the most cost-effective marketing tool available, and it generates on average about $44 of revenue for every dollar spent, according to research that was done by the research firm Insights for Professionals. So with that, now we will open it to questions. We have the website here if you want a little more information. And if you're into podcasts, we do have a Growing Your Business Online podcast that I'm hosting, and you have the URL there. So at this point, I will unmute everyone. And I'm wondering if anyone has questions at this point.
I added my questions to the chat
To
as
the
I went.
chat box.
You don't mind.
Oh, there's that.
That way I don't forget.
You don't, and you know, and I'm trying to call up the chat. Oh, there you go, chat. Thank you. All right. So we have a couple of questions here from Melissa. So any tips on figuring out what people are searching for? It's challenging to know what people search for when there are so many ways to search for what I do. That's an excellent question. One way to start is the Google Search Console. It used to be called Webmaster Tool. So maybe you're familiar with Google Analytics that gives you information, the data on the traffic and the visitors. Google Search Console is kind of a link between Google and your website, and it does offer some direction, some indication as to the search terms that people are looking for and how it correlates with your website.
Okay.
So that's one way. The other one would be the Google Keyword Planner. That's part of Google Ads, but you can use it just for keywords. And the third one is something called Uber Suggest that Neil Patel, it's a tool that, it's an online tool that Neil Patel has created. You punch your URL in, and it'll also give you a list of suggestions for keywords. It's always give and take. You know, sometimes the keywords match a bit more, match a bit less, but it'll give you an indication of what to look for. So other question here, how important is changing up the page content, like the front page and about us, etc.? So what I mentioned is keeping the content fresh is very important from an SEO point of view. You want to make sure that your website is up to date and reflects your business and is aimed and targeted at your target market, right? So you do the website to represent your business, but really to address the concerns of your potential client base. So you make sure that your content is up to speed, up to date, is fresh. You add a new one on a regular basis. The front page or the home page can be tweaked every now and then. You know, some people leave it kind of static for a while, but change the content in the back, and that's okay if you link from the home page to the new content in the back. If you have any kind of new product or service offering, it's a good idea to pop that up on the home page. So right now we are going through that whole COVID lockdown. That's a great opportunity to put either a notification on your main image on top of the website, maybe have a pop-up, maybe have some notification on the in the content area. But there's different opportunities that you have. Do you need to be on it every day and changing stuff? No, but think of it on a regular basis, maybe quarterly, maybe 3 times a year, that you have a quick look at some of the key pages and make changes there.
Quick question associated with that.
Mm-hmm.
How effective is widgets like linking to your social media or things like that for reflecting a change in content?
So widgets that from social media to the website or vice versa?
Right. So the ones where I'm sure you've seen somebody's page where they've, especially in like an industry like mine,
Mm-hmm.
where Instagram is a tool for me to communicate with my potential clients and the
Right.
community, what I'm doing, stuff on my projects. And so some people might have that on their website,
Mm-hmm.
a live
A
look at
live
what their
feed.
latest Instagram posts are. So I'm wondering, does that have any effect on the SEO having that? Or does Google just say, oh, you put a widget here?
Yeah, so for Google's purposes, it looks like a widget because it's really a window into your Instagram account.
Hmm.
So Google sees it's usually a script that runs on the page. It's good for the humans looking at your website because
Right.
they can see things changing.
Hmm.
Um, However, from an SEO point of view, since that content is effectively static from the coding point of view, it's not as beneficial.
Okay.
What you can do is, periodically, if you have new projects, you can create a little blog, or if you have a separate page where you keep projects on, say, okay, new project, give some information, some details about it, link maybe to the Instagram account, or do something like that to add a little bit of fresh content when something like that happens.
Okay.
Okay. One question that I've had previously before when doing these is, we're talking about changing HTML tags, and some people say, oh, I don't have access to the backend of my website. So that is very critical. As a business owner, we encourage all business owners to have control over the back end of the website and control over the domain as well. There's a lot of developers out there that help the business owners by will create the domain for you, will create the website and manage it for you. But sometimes some companies go out of business or someone leaves the company and then some of that information is lost, and then all of a sudden the owner is left without being able to access his or her own website. So even if someone creates it for you, please ask for your website password and your domain account password so that you can control and then do the changes as you need. Any
Uh,
last questions before we close it off?
I have a quick question.
Mhm.
I've been building and working on my own website over the years.
Right.
I'll get to a point where I'll need to pay for a one that I am not willing to pour the time and do.
Mhm.
But for now, I'm working with a WordPress template.
Right.
Um, I have a blog going, and is there a difference between me setting up, say, an image on my front page, linking to my blog and changing that all of the time versus WordPress's natural widget to feature my latest blog posts on the front page?
Right. I'm not 100% sure of the question, but usually like you mentioned, the widget within your WordPress website will display the last blogs or last 2 or 3 blogs, however it's set up.
Hmm.
And that's probably the easiest thing for you to do because all you need to worry about is creating the new blog, then it gets popped on your homepage automatically,
I'm
right?
just curious if one or the other is better for SEO because my issue is I don't like how their widget looks on my front page.
Ah,
It's not
okay.
clean enough. So I'm
Okay.
using another way to get around that to bring people to my blog.
Okay. So the important thing is that you're doing the blog. The blog is what will trigger the SEO, the new content. Okay, so that's the
Okay.
important part. How it gets displayed on the homepage, If you don't like the WordPress widget, there may be some other third-party widgets that can be used for that. I'm not 100% sure. We don't work on WordPress. We work on our
Mhm.
own platform,
Yep.
but I know that WordPress, the WordPress environment has a lot of third-party widgets that do a whole bunch of things. So I might look into that to see
Okay.
what other options you have that may be able to display, or maybe there's settings within that widget that allows you to change the display, or maybe the template itself has some restriction on how the blogs may be displayed.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So with that, I will thank everyone for participating today, and we'll make the recording available on YouTube. So stay tuned for an email with that information. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thanks again, and have a great day.
Thank you, Benoit. This was great.
Okay, thanks.